Hello, beautiful beings, and good morning if it's morning for you. It is morning for me, and that's why the lighting is a little bit a little bit dark, but hopefully the sun will start rising soon. It is time to talk about liberation and freedom. I was unsure of what today's video would be, but then I kept hearing liberation over and over again. So that was my indication that we are going to be doing a channeling with the Elfian Freedom Warriors to talk about embracing liberation, to step into your highest self. So liberation from so many different things, or so many different ways you can embrace liberation, and the Elfian Freedom Warriors are going to educate us on that in today's video. I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has shown support by purchasing the courses. This series is coming to an end next week. Next week is the winter solstice. Next week is the Yule. Next week is a lot. So the series will come to an end next week, and next week also, I believe, probably around like December 26th, 27th, will be the blog that follows series like this will come out. If it's out earlier, it will be linked to the final video next week, which will be the karmic balance, divine justice video. But I want to give a huge thanks to everyone who's shown their support thus far. And it is not too late to purchase the courses for their discount offer and be entered to win a free live reading. I do want to say that if you are selected as a winner and you do not want your reading to be live, we can do it privately too. Just being a free live reading, just as an opportunity to expand Inspired Awakening, because that is a show that I'm looking for guests for. I am looking for guests for Inspired Awakening. So if you have a story that you want to share, if you're going through your awakening journey, obviously you can purchase one of the courses to be entered to win to come on Inspired Awakening for a free live reading, as well as talking about your awakening journey. But also you can let me know, and maybe I can put together some sort of form. Like, let me know in the comments if you are interested in talking about your awakening journey and having an opportunity. I'm looking for source and spirit to guide me to the right people for Inspired Awakening, so I know that they will come and find me. So let me know, and maybe I can create a form of doing like a monthly drawing, doing something to give more people an opportunity for us to just come together and talk about our awakening journey. Which is so fun. I will be linking some Inspired Awakening videos to the end of this video, so that you can get a little bit of an understanding of what Inspired Awakening is all about. But now that that is said and done, I kind of put that on my mental to-do list to talk about today, because this one is coming out, yeah. We're like around the 12/12 portal, the Yule, the winter solstice. There is so much positive energy. So excited for it. So let's get started. I'm feeling a divine masculine Elfian warrior of freedom, wanting to step forth to discuss more about liberation and how we can embrace it in this incarnation. So divine masculine Elfian warrior, freedom from the Elfian warrior domain of the Elfian realm. When I have safely stepped back, you may step forth. Remember to give us an assignment and give us the crystals. Okay. Hi, I am an Elfian freedom warrior. I am very excited as a divine masculine being to be discussing liberation and freedom to you all. So I am going to do things a little bit differently than my Elfian warrior friends and start with the crystals that can help you embrace liberation and freedom. So the crystals that can help free you from things that no longer serve you and bring forth liberation are kyanite, black kyanite, lepidolite. Those are two very powerful crystals from freeing you from what no longer serves you. Golden healer quartz, golden healer quartz. and cinnabar. Cinnabar. As well as serpentinian. There's 5. So cinnabar, serpentinian, golden healer quartz, lepidolite, and black kyanite are the crystals that can help you with embracing liberation and freedom in your life. It can help you with letting go of things that no longer serve you and are very powerful crystalline energies. Serpentinian is, of course, associated with the dragon energy. Cinnabar has a little bit of a fiery quality to it. Golden healer quartz brings forth the golden Christed light, which is very powerful for freeing you from the things that no longer serve you. Lepidolite is a very powerful crystalline energy that has a lot of beings that come from its connection. It is connected to the lunar frequency. It is also connected to the golden rainbow fire, the violet flame. Lepidolite is a powerful crystal for activating for potential, so you can activate that crystal and infuse it with higher light. And then black kyanite is a very powerful crystal that can even cleanse selenite. So that is a crystal that you want to have at your disposal. It is not as easy to come by for a cheap price, but if you can find black kyanite, whatever the size of it you can find, it doesn't have to be a big crystal piece. It is good to have it within your arsenal because black kyanite is one of the most powerful crystals because it has the ability to cleanse even selenite, which is a cleansing crystal. So it is very powerful to have for liberation. Liberation. Now let's talk about liberation. Liberation is freeing yourself from things that no longer serve you. And I'm going to talk about liberation in conjunction with the chakras and the body systems. So first, liberation in relationship to your root chakra. Your root chakra is associated with safety. And sometimes if you feel like you are not free to be who you are, to do what you feel called to do, if you do not feel like you are free to be your authenticity in a space, in a situation, in a relationship, then it is time for liberation. Then it is time to reroute yourself into a different situation, a different relationship dynamic, maybe move locations, relocate. Because if you're feeling unsafe, if you're feeling like you cannot be who you are and you're constantly on edge, you're constantly walking on eggshells, that is draining your root chakra and prevents you from being free to be who you are. And you feel that. You feel that I am not safe, so I can't be who I am. I'm constantly in fight or flight. If you don't feel safe, you are constantly on edge, you are constantly on guard, and that disrupts the peace all around. You guys learned about divine tranquility last week, so that disrupts the peace all around. It disrupts the peace in your relationships that are harmonious. If you are feeling at dis-ease, unsafe, you need to liberate yourself from those situations because you might have truly harmonious connections that actually get disrupted because you don't feel safe and therefore you're not able to be in your authenticity and you are fearful, you are anxious, you are worried, you are walking on eggshells, you are limiting your potential. So in regards to the root chakra, liberation is very important when it comes to freeing yourself from connections that are limiting you from being who you are authentically, who you are meant to be, when they are limiting you and you do not feel safe. If you do not feel safe, you get to a place where you feel safe. There's a thing where you humans, if you're walking somewhere or you're going somewhere and you have that fight or flight, you guys have that survival instinct to get somewhere safe. But in a lot of relationships and situations, like even work environments, you have that instinct of you don't feel safe. And you will force yourself to stay in situations where you do not feel safe because you are afraid of the opposite. You know, you're afraid of if you're not in that situation, what's going to happen. And I have a little bit of security now, maybe a little bit of stability. I'm having some source of income, even though I don't feel safe in this work environment. But that if I lose that source of income, then I'm really not going to feel safe. So I'm just going to continue stressing, or I don't feel safe in this relationship to be myself. But if I leave this relationship, then who is going to love me? There's a lot of that fear. And I can tell you right now that if you're feeling any sort of fear about even leaving something, you are feeling afraid of I am dependent on this thing, if you are affirming that you are dependent on something, that something is in control of your life, you are giving too much power away and you are draining yourself. If you do not feel safe, you are not going to be 100% you. You're not going to give 100% of yourself into a relationship and give it a chance to succeed if you do not feel safe. And you're not going to be your best self in your work environment if you do not feel safe. And it's important to liberate yourself from situations and environments that block you from feeling safe, okay? Because, making some source of income, you can go find a job that you feel safe and have a different source of income, and it is okay. You do not want to stay in situations because you are afraid of not having money or you're afraid of not having love. Because if you are afraid of not having these things that are energy that you can attract, if you are afraid, then you will be calling it out of desperation. And then when you call things out of desperation, you are calling the lesser side of things. It was important for you to know, and I'm moving my way up talking about the sacral chakra when it comes to manifestation, because if you are calling things out of desperation, you actually manifest half of what you're trying to manifest. Did you know that? So if you are trying, let's say you're trying to manifest a relationship, a romantic partner, you're trying to manifest your soulmate, but you're doing it out of desperation. You're going to manifest someone who has half of your soulmate's qualities. You're going to manifest someone who loves you half of the time. You're going to manifest half. And then it's not going to be in alignment. It's not going to be balanced because you were so desperate for something that the universe is like, okay, you're using your manifestation energy. You are. So here is something, but if you're desperate for it, then it's going to be discord. It's not going to be in alignment. You're not going to feel safe. It's going to come to you. Because the desperation energy does attract, but it doesn't attract something for your highest good. It attracts a lesson. It attracts something to remind you of your power, to remind you that you do not need to be desperate. It attracts a lesson. Desperation attracts a lesson. It does not attract something that is for your highest good. It attracts a lesson to remind you of your worth. Know that. In regards to money, same thing. You're going to manifest a job because you're so desperate for something. You're going to manifest a job or situation where, it seems nice at first, but it's actually probably one of the most toxic environments that you've been in. And you're having to learn to stand up for yourself, learning to say, I am not going to do someone else's job and not get paid for it. You are going to have to learn to be assertive, to reclaim your worth. You're going to have to work harder to get what you were trying to manifest because you were manifesting from desperation. That now the universe is like, you need to remember, you need to work, you need to remember who you are, you need to remember your worth, you need to remember that you deserve more. You need to remember you deserve more. So you're going to be put in a situation that teaches you that you deserve more. Or you can liberate yourself from situations that make you feel desperate and weak and unsafe and uncertain, and let the universe know that you are not afraid. Faith is the opposite of fear. So to have faith in the divine, to have faith in your guides, to have faith in God, to have faith in Source and Creator, to have faith, you should not have fear. If you have faith, fear is nowhere near. So when you liberate yourself from things that are making your life worse, that are weighing your life, that are making you more stressed, that are causing you to lose sight of spirit, causing you to lose sight of yourself, then you're telling the universe that you're just okay. But you're not okay in that situation, and you know it. Don't tell the universe that you're okay with these things. With a situation that makes you feel unsafe. Don't tell the universe that. Because you want situations where you feel safe, where you feel secure, where you feel happy, where you are enjoying your job and loving your coworkers and making money. You want to be in a relationship where it is mutual. If you stay out of fear and desperation, then you're letting the universe know that you're just okay, when the universe gave you that situation to remind you that you deserve more. Because you all have the balance of the divine feminine, divine masculine within you. And now we're talking about the sacral chakra. You all have the balance of the divine masculine and feminine within you. Okay, the masculine is action and manifestation, and the feminine is that spirituality and that intuition. Okay? But here's the thing. If when you're trying to manifest things from a spiritual place, right? You're going into tapping into energy of the universe and all of those things. You're using both the masculine and the feminine. But the feminine doesn't need to do as much action. to manifest what it needs, what it wants. The divine feminine nature is in its intuition. It knows. It knows, okay, this is when this is going to happen. It knows. It is certain. The divine masculine needs to take that action to prove what it knows. The divine feminine does not need to prove what it knows. And there are situations where you do not need to prove what you know, because you know, and that is your intuition. And there are situations where you need to prove what you think you know. And that is coming from your divine masculine need for that logic and that tangible reason. And sometimes when you're trying to manifest and you're manifesting from a place of desperation, you are actually weakening your divine masculine self and your divine feminine self. You're like, okay, well, if I'm manifesting from a place of desperation, how am I weakening my divine masculine self? You're weakening it because the divine masculine self knows something and goes out and seeks what it knows. The divine feminine self knows something and attracts what it knows. But in both of these situations, the energies, the solar energy and the lunar energy, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, they're still knowing. They're not desperate. They're not in that desperate state. They're not in the state where they are giving control to anything outside of themselves. Divine feminine knows something and knows that they will attract it. The divine feminine nature. So the divine feminine nature is like, I'm attracting it. And in control, like, it's not that the divine feminine self does not wait for something. Knows, okay, I'm going to attract it within X amount of time, and I'm just going to do my thing, and it'll come when it comes. And I'm not going to put all of my eggs in that basket of that manifestation. I'm going to go do my other things. I'm going to go, heal things, connect to the earth. I'm going to go do my other things. The divine feminine nature. I'm going to go do my other things, and I know I got this thing that's manifesting that's going to come to me when I am ready. And I trust that divine timing. And I trust myself to be okay with when it comes to me. I'm just going to go do my things and not even stress about it. Stressing about it is giving control. Stressing about it and worrying about it and trying to force it. Actually, when you try to force something, you think you're controlling it, but actually it's controlling you. And with the divine masculine self, it knows something and it takes that action. Okay, I know this and I'm going to go take that action. And I'm taking that action. I'm choosing when I take that action. I'm in control of when I take that action. When you try to control something, it's actually controlling you. And that's when it comes to your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is where your cords of attachment are. And desperation and fear and anxiety cause you to give so many cords of attachment and drain your energy in situations and circumstances and people and relationships that are sometimes not for your highest good. Like, well, I can just make this thing work. I can just make it work. It's half of what I was hoping for. It's half of what I deserve. But I'll make it work because it's here. No. Now we're talking about your solar plexus. You got to remember your worth. You got to remember your power. You deserve more. You do. So don't make something work that's not supposed to be there. Don't make something work that's not supposed to be there. You got to liberate yourself from these cords of attachment to fear, anxiety, and people-pleasing and accepting what you don't deserve. You need to be open for what you do deserve. Because if you're like, well, I don't deserve this. I don't. But it's here. So I'm going to try and make it work. And the universe is like, hey, I have what you deserve. I have what you've been waiting for. You just need to liberate yourself from this situation. And the longer you stay in that situation, the universe is like, well, maybe they're not ready. Maybe they don't really want this. Maybe they need to spend more time remembering who they are. They need to spend more time being in that energy, because now your energy is being dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And you were at one point in match with what you deserve, but now you lowered yourself. You lowered your standards, you lowered your worth, and now the universe is like, okay, I got this thing for you, but now you're going to have to work for it again. And you're feeling like, oh, I'm constantly working for things and nothing is working out. And I got talking about liberating yourself in the solar plexus. Remembering your worth. Of course it's not working out because you're just accepting you're expecting the lowest possible option. You're accepting the easiest route. Because it's right there. And the universe is like, well, if you just waited one more month, I would have given it to you. You just have to have that patience and trust me. Now you accepted something that is lowering you every time you give it energy. You gotta remember. And your spirit guides and your guardian angels are trying to redirect you, trying to get you back on path. But it's really hard when you are draining your energy into something that was not meant for you because you try to make it work. And you guys, as human beings, you will try to make anything work. You guys are problem solvers. You will try to solve problems that are not even there. The problem is, this is not the situation for you. You deserve more. The solution is liberation. Easier said than done. I know. You have to remember. And when you remember your worth and you remember what you deserve, those easy routes that are going to come and the lower polarity is going to try and bring them because they know, this is their weakness. Now I can drain their energy. They're on the precipice of something amazing. They're going to elevate the positive polarity to a new level. So let me give them this thing. I don't want that. The lower polarity is like, I don't want them to do that. I got to do my job. I got to keep the negative polarity in control. Here is something kind of like what you want, and it's going to seem like what you want for a little while, and then when you get so attached and so invested, it's going to show you that it was actually not what you wanted, but now you can't leave because now you're desperate and afraid and you don't know your worth anymore. Well, that doesn't sound very nice, does it? Oh, wow. Wow, humanity. And any of our communicators going, wow. Well, I didn't even think of that. Well, if I can manifest things from a higher energy, well, when I'm afraid I can manifest things, because it's energy, and we're creators. That's what the communicator is saying to us. As I'm talking to you, it's clicking. Well, you guys are beings of life. You're creators. You create life. So you would create life from a place of fear and a place of love. You can manifest from a place of fear, but you don't manifest what's for your highest good from a place of fear. You manifest what's for the highest good of the ego and the lower self. You manifest what's for your lowest good. Then it's not for your good. It's not in your best interest. You're manifesting what you want, not what you need. Of course you can manifest from fear. Then you manifest situations that you need to liberate yourself from. Manifest situations that hurt your heart, your emotional body, that cause blockages all around where you have to keep fighting to remember who you are. Liberating yourself from fear, from those situations that cause you to forget who you are is so important for stepping into your highest self. Because when you forget who you are, your heart gets blocked and your throat gets blocked. You're not able to express yourself. When you forget who you are, you're not able to see things clearly. You know what's really interesting is that in situations that require liberation, your third eye activates. Because your highest self is trying to tell you, get out. Get out. Liberate yourself. Your highest self is trying to communicate to you. There are so many times for our communicator where we've observed it and she's telling us it now. She's like, oh, that happened to me? All of her chakras and every body system was out of alignment. The only thing in alignment in one situation about 6 months ago, everything was out of alignment except her third eye. Her third eye was open and activated. Her higher self was telling her. She was seeing. But because she wasn't accepting what she was seeing, everything got knocked out of alignment. She didn't want to accept it, and her heart out of alignment. She didn't want to even think about it. It's coming. It's telling her. Her higher self is telling her, get out. You need liberation. No, not wanting to hear it. Everything was getting knocked out of alignment. Her body's getting sick, and she knows yep, this is out of alignment. I know I'm getting sick because of this situation. I know what this is. Her third eye is open. She knows. But that lack of acceptance caused everything to go out of alignment. And as soon as she accepted that liberation was important for her to embrace her highest self, things got in alignment so quickly. So quickly. Like, popped into place. And as soon as she took that action of that liberation with compassion and love, of stepping away, of consideration and respect for herself and the other person, and left. Liberated in a way that would cause tranquility and peace, liberated from a place of love and gratitude for the experience, liberated from a higher place. So you don't want to liberate yourself in anger. You learned last week you don't want to liberate yourself in discord. You're able to liberate yourself in peace once you accept what is not meant for you. And when it's not meant for you, oftentimes it's not meant for the other person. There's a lot of me, I, because you guys have egos. Ego, I. Sometimes don't consider the fact that if something isn't meant for you, maybe it's not meant for the other person either, and you're also limiting them from what is meant for them by trying to force something to work in your own life with them, when both of you know it's not meant for you. There are also times where things are meant for you. But if both parties aren't willing to accept that, you cannot force it. If you know that it is meant for you, and the other person knew it was meant for them but is withdrawing, you cannot force them to know it is meant for them, because once they stop accepting, once they start denying, once they start stepping away, it is no longer meant for you. Once they liberate themselves, even if it was meant for them, but they liberate themselves because they're afraid, well, then that situation is not meant for you, because you do not deserve someone who is afraid. You do not deserve to be in a situation that is from fear. They're afraid and they leave and they liberate themselves. Then liberate yourself too. And if it's meant to be, it will be. Liberation is beautiful because when you liberate yourself from something and you really do it from a place of higher love, higher light, that if something was meant to be, and if it was truly meant for you, but it just was the wrong time, there is a such thing as the wrong time, and maybe it was the wrong time for one or both of you. If it's truly meant for you, it'll come back. But you can't force things. And the heart chakra needs liberation from that, because the heart chakra is always trying, and the emotional body is always trying to make things work. That sometimes it's just not the right time. Your spiritual body could use a lot of liberation from stress. The biggest thing that your spiritual body and your physical body and your chakras and your body systems could use liberation from is stress. Your minds are so stressed. Stress is the voice of the ego the same way fear is. Stress is also the absence of faith, like fear. Stress and fear are actually one and the same. How so? Well, see, stress is this feeling where you're constantly on edge and you're constantly nervous and you're constantly worrying and you're constantly hyperactivating. And it comes from being afraid that if you don't do something in a certain time or if something doesn't work out in a certain way, that everything will fall apart. But nothing ever falls apart. It comes together. Here's the thing that you need to know when you're thinking about liberating yourself from something. What you need to know. Nothing falls apart. Nothing falls apart. It comes together, because when something ends and you're like, oh my gosh, it's all falling apart, it's actually opening the door. It's actually like a bunch of boxes in front of the door that you need to open for actualizing in your fullest potential. But what you're doing is you're so stressed. Well, if these boxes fall, everything is gonna fall apart. And you're stressing and you're trying to keep the boxes together, and you don't realize you're putting yourself in a wall. You're putting yourself in a box. You're guarding yourself. You're trapping yourself. But you think, I'm keeping it all together. And then one day it all falls apart. And at first you're upset because of the mess that you've made. But you let it fall apart, and it actually liberated you, because the door is open. And you're like, oh, well, what is this door? What is this new opportunity? You open the door. Liberation. Freedom. something new. Something old ending and making the way for something new is not scary. It is liberation. Because you are constantly ascending, evolving beings. You must grow. And sometimes the thing that you're trying so hard to hold together so it doesn't fall apart, if it can't stick together on its own without your constant intervention, maybe it was meant to fall apart. Again, nothing that's meant to be causes so much force and so much control to keep it together. Sometimes it needs to fall apart for liberation. And that is, in a way, my final message in regards to this topic. Because your body systems and your chakras are crying for liberation from things that no longer serve you. Because when you are putting yourself in situations and circumstances that are not in alignment with your highest good, you are blocking your chakras, you're blocking your body systems, you're not in alignment. And your inner child cries. Your inner child is like, I am not safe. And when your inner child does not feel safe, you will never feel safe. It is, is very important for your Akashic body and your inner child within your Akashic body that you are liberating yourself from situations that cause you to be acting from a place of fear and survival. And a lot of it comes from your mind. A lot of things you need to liberate yourself from come from your mind. To liberate yourself from those thoughts that trap you, that cause you to forget who you are. When you liberate yourself from those things, you open the door to connect to your highest self. So I ask you, what is something that you can liberate yourself from? That you've been feeling that it's time to let it go, but you've been afraid. How can you conquer fear and free yourself from what is controlling you and draining your energy? Even if you think you've got it all under control because you're trying to control everything around you is really controlling you. Nothing worth having in life requires your constant control. Requires you to constantly be controlling it. You shouldn't be controlling things. You should not be controlling people or situations or forcing things to happen when they are not meant to. You're disrupting the flow. Liberation is accepting the flow. Thank you. He's like, okay, I'm done. It's my final message. He could have kept talking about that forever. So if you guys would like maybe a course or maybe like a webinar, live lesson, something more, if you want to know more about that, because the way he was talking, he's like, I can actually break this down into individual chakras and like really talk about that liberation. If you guys want to see that, I'm kind of already seeing in my mind's eye kind of how we would go about doing a course on that. I'm kind of feeling it, and I've been feeling a little bit more about this course, but I don't know. Like, if you want to know more, let me know in the comments if you want to know more about that, because it seemed like he was keeping it within the divine timing frame that I kind of set for this series, but he could have gone on for way longer, really breaking it down. So let me know. There was a lot of visuals I saw. I think my favorite thing is when they start like calling me out on stuff, because I do readings all the time and channelings all the time for other people, and I sometimes I don't read for myself, or if I'm reading tarot for myself, I'm like, I just kind of like, okay, I know, like I know tarot so well that it's like, okay, I know. I don't even really take the time to fully read it. I see the card, I'm like, yep, I know what that means, and I know what that means, and I know what that means, and I don't even, like, it takes me 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, got it, and I don't actually dive deeper into it. It's very interesting how when they do these channelings for the collective, they start reading me, like, okay. Okay, we don't need that all the time, but yes, so it was beautiful visuals. beautiful energy of liberation. And it feels like the way that it's very nicely segueing into the divine justice and embracing divine justice, because it's a lot about trust. And a lot of these warrior principles to step into your highest self have to do with trust and trusting the universe. So I will see you guys next week, where we will conclude this series with embracing divine justice. So until then, sending you love, light, and inspiration. Stay inspired.